You ever have this happen to you? You're at the end of filling out something online, probably for your job, and you get to the final click and there's one more decision to make. And there's a lot more wrapped up in it than it seems at first. Well, that's happening to a lot of people right now because it's open season and you can select all kinds of things for the finance that your job gives you. And so maybe you've done all the right steps and you're feeling pretty good about it. You've maxed out the company contributions and your contributions to your 401k. And now you need to decide Roth or regular. Wait, what? What is that? And now you're beginning to worry, oh, gee, am I going to have to go online and Google this and maybe set up a little Excel spreadsheet, try and figure out for myself which is better and wait, what's the tax thing? And before you know it, a simple task that you're almost done with is hanging over you and it's still lingering on your to-do list. Well, today, Mike Morton, our certified financial planner, expert guru on making things simple, is going to try to make this simple. And look, we can't give you financial advice for your particular situation. Not allowed to do that. But what Mike can do today is give you a way to simplify, understand how to make that decision quickly. Make it a 5-minute thing, not a 60-minute thing. So here we go. This is Practical Finance for Parents with certified financial planner, Mike Morton. Mike, I hate this. I hate it. This happens to be like every time. It's like you're almost there and you're not. And
all of a sudden you're like, wait, I don't even know what these things mean. You get to that point where you're like, now you're looking up words and you're like, I'm not sure, like pre-tax, after-tax, Roth, traditional, like I'm not even sure what these are. And then you got percentages. Usually it comes in like percentages. Oh, you're going to put 5% or 10%? Like, man, it's super confusing.
Yeah, it's like on The Simpsons when Marge is trying to become a realtor and she's about to take the realtor's exam and she's like, what the heck is a dwelling? That's how I always feel on these financial things that you get through your work or your bank or that I hear from you. And I'm like, wait, hold, slow this down. And it's especially irksome for me because Roth, it just makes me think of Hyman Roth in Godfather 2. I'm picturing a shirtless Lee Strasberg playing the gangster and divvying up Cuba, metaphorically, in the form of birthday cake. And by the time I'm done with that mental exercise, I've lost sight of what I'm contributing to my future retirement. And I'm just thinking about shirtless old men and cake. Mostly cake.
You've lost sight because you're on 3 different tabs at that point, trying to find all the clips and the videos, and
I kind of want to relive that and also figure out like, all right, could you, can we start with like the basic stuff here?
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is 401ks.
The 401ks. Wait, but before we do that, Matt, you forgot to tease the one thing.
Oh, I forgot to tease.
Yeah.
This is great. This is a kind of embarrassing personal story that has a happy ending. You ready for it? This is how to eat ice cream and lose weight.
How to eat ice cream and lose weight.
How to eat ice cream and lose weight.
People aren't even going to listen to the episode, Matt. They're skipping ahead right now. How do I eat ice cream and lose weight?
You know what? You're right. We screwed up. We really screwed up. How on earth could we tease that and then say, but first, sit through this 401k discussion? But we're supposing here that this is something that is a problem for people.
No, this comes up a lot. So I've gotten this recently because we are in open enrollment season. So picking for 2025 or for the next year, the contributions to your 401k. Now, this is not how much to put in the 401k or where to save. We'll talk about that in some other episodes. So I'm assuming you've already, maxing out your 401k, you're putting in the good contribution there. And the question is, you get to that next screen and it's like, okay, and it's usually these boxes of like, how much % of my salary am I going to put in pre-tax or Roth, or maybe you have after tax. So now you got a couple of different boxes to choose from. And we want to give you some great ideas on how to exactly choose what would make sense for you.
Got it. All right. Can we define terms here? Let me start with, people are going to be like, Matt, you're an idiot. But that's okay. I'm not afraid of this. 401k, employer-sponsored retirement account.
Yeah, 401ks, so that's your employer retirement account. This could relate to a 403b, again, an employer retirement account. So it's through your HR. You're saving money, so you're on your HR portal deciding how much to contribute to your employer retirement account. And before you ask the very next question, what is pre-tax and what is Roth? So back to basics, the pre-tax, or we also use the word traditional with a capital T. All right. So traditional or pre-tax means you're putting in money and you have not yet paid tax on the money. So this is great because you're not paying tax on that salary this year. So if you put in $20,000 into a pre-tax 401k, you get to take $20,000 off your income this year and you do not pay tax on the $20,000. So those are pre-tax contributions.
Got it. And so the benefit of that is, so if I see traditional or I see non-Roth, what it's saying is I'm getting the benefit of, if I'm contributing 20,000, it's all going in there. It's all getting invested. I'm not paying taxes on that right now. And so I get all of the benefit of that amount growing.
Well, that's true. Hold on a sec, though. A couple of nuances there. You want to look for the words pre-tax or traditional, because there are other words we're going to talk about, which is Roth and after tax. Okay. So pre-tax or traditional is the word you're looking for.
Pre-tax or traditional means the whole thing, I'm not paying taxes on it yet. And so
yes, now that's true, but that would be even true if you're putting 20,000 in the Roth. All 20,000 still gets in there. So let's again make a distinction. 20, whatever you put in, that percent of your salary. So say it's 20, works out to $20,000. All of that gets put into the 401k.
Right.
It's just a matter when you come to fill out your taxes in April of next year. Hey, how much money did you make?
Do they claw back some now, or
do you owe tax? Not clawed back. All 20,000 still, let's be very particular, all 20,000 still ends up in that account. But do you owe 30 grand in tax or 35 grand in tax?
I've been clawed back from my like financial life, like
from your life. Yeah.
Extracted surgically from
pay taxes. But just be careful, because people do think like how much is in there. So all 20,000 actually gets deposited, that percent. You do 10% of your salary or 15%. All 20 grand, whatever the dollar is, all gets into the account. And then it's just a matter of, am I going to owe tax on the 20,000 and have a higher tax bill? Or do I not owe tax on the 20,000 and have a lower tax bill?
All right. So that's 401k, pre-tax, traditional with a capital T. Tell me about Hyman Roth.
And then Roth is the exact opposite. So this is you pay tax now, but then you never pay tax again. So so in that case, you put the 20 grand in Roth and you have a higher tax bill because you pay taxes on that 20,000 of income. All right. So you're going to have a higher tax bill this year if you use the Roth versus the pre-tax. But then, of course, the opposite is true when you go and take the money out. The Roth, you never pay tax again. So all the earnings and growth comes out tax-free. Whereas the pre-tax, since you did not pay tax on it this year, which just sounds fantastic. Hey, Mike, I'll take a less tax bill this year. Sounds great. Well, you're kicking the can down the road. You're going to pay tax on that money and the earnings when you take it out.
Got it. Okay. All right. Roth. What's after tax?
Yeah, let's after tax is a whole nother thing. I just wanted to mention it because it might show up on the same screen. We had a whole episode on after tax a while ago. We'll do another one soon. But it is a choice where it's you add money from your salary. Again, a percent of your salary. It could be $10,000 or $20,000. You have to pay the tax on that money. So you cannot deduct it. You cannot take it off your taxes this year. So you have paid tax on it. But it ends up in the Roth side of your 401k or 403b. Again, there's a couple more choices there. We have to have a more in-depth conversation, Matt, on that topic. So I don't want to go too deep, but I just want to let people know you might see that on this screen. And if you do, it's a really fantastic choice. Definitely recommend looking into it and look up our previous episode, or we'll have another one soon. Got
it. Okay. So, but it's a little closer to the Roth side of things, right?
It's actually kind of in between, I would say. Yes, it's closer to the Roth, but it's also kind of one of these in between things. But it is a really great opportunity for those that can make after tax contributions. Not all plans allow it.
Interesting. Okay. Yep. All right. I think I more or less get it. What do I choose?
So which one do you choose? Where do you go?
Yeah.
So here's the upshot. And we've talked about this before. You want to pay taxes when your tax rate is low. Now we can get into like, what does that actually mean? If you're early in your career, here's the rule of thumb. Here's what to choose. All right, Matt. You're early in your career. You expect your earning potential to grow. You expect to get career path, developments. You're going to move up scale. You're going to get more salary in the future. So you're in your 20s, 30s, maybe 40s, still, growing and expanding what we call your human capital, your job. You want to choose Roth. Go with the Roth in the early years. You're going to be making more money later. You're going to be in higher tax brackets. You're going to be paying higher taxes. You're going to have kids. They're going to cost you a lot more. So you're going to need more money later. So go with the Roth option if you expect your salary to increase and grow in the future.
Okay. Pay taxes when taxes are low, early in your career. Hopefully your income's going to go up eventually. And so pay taxes now. Roth it.
That's
Roth
right.
It. Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. So what if you've already peaked in your life and now your life is just a string of middle-aged disappointments and realizations of the limitations of your own capabilities, and you're like a mid-level band struggling with your own limitations in the harsh light of starting to wait. That's almost famous. What happens if you're in that category?
Yeah, first, lots of empathy for you, Matt. I'm really sorry you're there, man.
Yeah, you ended up hosting financial planning shows. My gosh.
Yeah, no, the back nine of your career.
Beautiful life.
So if you find yourself in that amazing situation where you're just earning lots of money, you don't know what to do with it. It's fantastic. And you're spending it all because you've got 3 kids and it's all going out the door. Then, you want to try to save on taxes now. So if you find yourself again in that maybe above the 24% tax bracket, let's use that as a nice cutoff too. Hey, I'm now in the 32%, 37% tax bracket. Good problems to have. A lot of people come to me, Mike, I'm paying so much in tax. Yes, congratulations. I will happily pay your tax for you. Just give me all your salary. So in that case, doing the pre-tax. You want to get some deductions now during these, high tax years, because potentially you're going to be retiring at some point in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, and then be again in lower tax brackets. So now you want to smooth out when you pay taxes. So if you find yourself, in that fortunate situation of making a bunch and being in these higher tax brackets, that's a great time to switch into pre-tax using the traditional or the pre-tax option.
I appreciate that you've made this really freaking simple, right? I mean, and again, disclaimer understood here. You're not giving specific financial advice for people's specific situation. This is a great rule of thumb. And I get also that people might end up kind of in the in-between zone. So that might be a great time to talk to a financial planner and, et cetera, work all that out. But this is the part of the show where I like to throw you a curveball. We've not planned this. We've not talked about it in advance. This is a live test, and this might be my last episode hosting this particular show. Could you what if people screw this up, right? Like, what if, you go through this, I mean this, I'm asking you this because it's part of the stress relief aspect of the show that we're trying to accomplish here. What's your downside risk if you're stupendously wrong? Is it big?
Yeah, your downside risk is none. All right. Your downside risk is some alternate universe where you would have had an extra $20,000 and you never lived in that alternate universe. So you never know that. And good news, Matt, you still saved, you maximized your 401k contributions. You put away $23,000. You got some company match. And that is all growing in the retirement funds, adding, to your retirement down the road. So whether it was in a pre-tax or a Roth, maybe it was one more optimal than the other, potentially. We don't even know the answer to that question if you're in this middle zone. Hey, Mike said if I'm in my 20s, 30s, my earnings, go Roth. Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. And if you're about to retire, go traditional, and get the tax deduction. If you find yourself in between, you find yourself having made other choices, congratulations. You saved a lot of money. It's all growing. It's hopefully invested and growing. So It's really not that big of a problem at all. Now, that being said, I will highlight one situation that you may or may not find relatable. Some people I found, there wasn't really a Roth, until recently, say last 5, 10, 15 years. It wasn't very popular. It wasn't in a lot of plans. So there are people that are retired with a significant portion all in the pre-tax. So they don't really have any Roth, and they've got $2 million. They did a great job saving, investing $2 million, and now they have to start taking that out and find themselves in higher tax brackets because of that. So that's one of the things we're trying to avoid. So when you look at your balance between Roth and traditional, we're trying to avoid having a massive amount in pre-tax, especially if you love your job and you're going to keep working for a long time. And then you don't have an opportunity to be like, hey, I'm retired. I have no income for a while. I can take some really big distributions and stay in that under that 24% tax bracket. So something to think about that might relate to your situation. Take a look. Hey, I've been a great saver. Oops, it's all in pre-tax and I'm in high income years. What do I do? That's where you want to really, maybe look at some of these nuances of where to, how to pull that money out and not pay too much tax.
And again, I'm not trying to get super complicated about this, but I remember we've talked before about there are some things you can do. There are some, I don't want to say escape hatches, but you can cushion things. There's such a thing as a backdoor Roth conversion, and other sneaky go rounds that you can apply. So I guess what I hear you saying is your rule of thumb should work most of the time for most people to get it pretty right. And if you don't, the downside risk is most of the time not that big.
That's exactly right. And I also want the listeners to feel like, I never really thought about this before. I just took the default option and I should have been, you're fine. You're doing a great job. Saving is the first part of this entire process, and you're more than 80% of the way there.
And if you're feeling motivated out of this, again, there are things you can do. I mean, there are situations we don't want to totally, make this seem like, well, why are you even talking about it if it doesn't matter? It matters. It matters a little bit. And some people are going to want to get this right. Or you might be in that situation where you really are a little too far, and it could be a significant financial difference for you. In that case, there are things you can do. There are workarounds, if you get planning on it. So, but that's, that was pretty good. Anything else we should cover before we, reveal some shocking details of my life?
Shocking details. No, I think that's pretty good, Matt. I really wanted to, I think if you use those rules of thumb, kind of early career, mid-career, towards the end of your career. And then the other point, I mentioned the 24% tax bracket. I think that's another nice one. If you find yourself in that zone, it's kind of in the middle, you could go either way. 24 is a pretty good tax rate. I mean, pretty low, not too high. And so I think, it makes an easier choice if you're in kind of the 30%, 32, 37% tax bracket, or you're really low in the 24% or even under 24% bracket is where I'd go, kind of a cutoff between. If you're in the 24%, I would say Roth, still in that good Roth position. If you're above 24%, really look at the pre-tax. So that's another good kind of rule of thumb.
Wow, that is super easy. And hopefully for most people, we've taken a 1-hour task and turned it into a 5-minute task.
There you go. Boom. Make it happen.
Boom. All right. All right. So look, we promised at the top that I would tell you how to eat ice cream to lose weight. I played a little bit with the verbs.
Oh, no, say it ain't so.
The
what?
prepositions. But what I said was more or less true. Here's the quick story. I had my 3rd knee surgery, which, true fact, they hand out a little punch card like at Subway. So if I get one more, I get a
free
foot-long sub. So that's great.
Oh, a foot-long sub. You don't even get a free surgery. Can't do the other one for free.
Yeah, here.
Buy
here
one,
crutches.
get one free.
No, hell no. Look, you and I both have some doctors intimately involved in our lives. I promise you that is not the case. Yeah. So I got my card punched, and so I've gone through a long recovery. All the excuses in the world. I was exercising less, and I was working a lot. I was tired. I was hungry. Bottom line is I gained some weight, and I thought a few months ago, all right, I'm going to take care of that. And I'm going to address it. And this is, I think, an example of how you can have a complicated problem because there's a lot that goes into it. There's diet, exercise, sleep, water, all kinds of things in your habits. But I tried to simplify down to what's one thing I can do that accounts for a good percentage of this. And if
wait, and your one thing is to eat ice cream?
Yes, because here's the thing. I have a sweet tooth. And my particular, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm boring as hell. That's why you have me host the show. But I do like ice cream. That's my drug of choice. And so what I did was I got the smallest little glass bowls that we owned. They're like ramekins. They're like a doll would use this bowl. And I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. At a set time every night, this is my indulgence time. And I'm limited to one bowl. And it's working. I am halfway toward my weight loss goal. Wow. And I get to eat ice cream almost every day. By almost, I mean every day. So
and by almost, it's every day.
My point about this is I'm not trying to shill for the ice cream industry, although Edie's is considering being a sponsor for the show. It's more that I just, as I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about your whole philosophy of trying to like boil things down, it's an example. Like I am doing other things. There's more to it. Like, I'm getting to exercise a lot more, but I think this one change, which is pretty simple, accounts for a good portion of it and gets me ahead of the game.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. So I get it. The small bowl, you love ice cream. I know this about you, that you love the ice cream. So we went the small bowl, we got the small bowl. And so that's kind of one of the mechanisms. So my question is, as you go through the day, or even when you have that bowl of ice cream, is it like it feels satisfactory, like, satisfaction to you to be like, oh yeah, this is my thing today? So are you finding yourself not thinking about it the rest of the day? So therefore, by making one choice, you're not bombarded with like, ooh, but I could have a little snack now. No, I'm going to do it later. Like, you've just made your choice and you get it at the end of the day.
Now, that's a great point. Well, it reminds me a little bit of when they used to run ads during Saturday morning cartoons, when that was a thing. Like, we're dating ourselves. Like, now everyone streams everything. And it would be like for Fruit Loops. It's like, Fruit Loops are part of this complete breakfast. The complete breakfast was like eggs, fruit, vegetables, fruit juice. Yes, there is a complete breakfast that goes with this, right? And so, I do other things. I'm not trying to suggest that you can just do this, but your question was about sort of the psychology of it. And right. I think a lot of it is what you're suggesting. It's getting myself around the mindset of expecting that I will do this at this time approximately every day, and getting used to this is okay. And then I brush my teeth afterwards. And I think the habit, it's sort of an atomic habits type philosophy of it, right? It's like getting into the mindset of this is my routine. I think that does help.
Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. N of one, eat your ice cream and lose weight.
You know what the sad part of this is? At some point, we're going to test my cholesterol again. and they're going to say like, look,
then it's going to be another one thing, Matt.
One thing. So it turns out that that plan didn't work. And I've lost 50 pounds. Amazing.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, on that happy note, this show is part of a complete breakfast for Mike Morton. I'm Matt Robison. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining us on Financial Life Planning. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to and rate the podcast on Apple iTunes or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It makes a massive difference. If you have a comment or question, please email me, mike@mortonfa.com. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be considered for investment advice. Opinions expressed are as of the date of recording. Such opinions are subject to change. I cannot guarantee the accuracy or completeness of the data presented here.